Hey everybody, this is your girl Tynecia. We are here live at Diversitech. It has been incredible. We've been talking to some amazing people, and so I am super excited to talk to, and I got to make sure I say it right, Tynecia.
Tynecia. You almost had it. You were close. You were close. It's okay.
Tynecia, I love
You're
that
closer
name.
than
It's so
most people.
beautiful.
You're
So
closer than most.
Tynecia, tell
Yes.
us who you are
Yeah.
and what you do.
Yeah.
I know you do a lot, so
I
let's
do
get
a lot.
it
I do
going.
a lot. Well, hi everyone. My name is Tynecia Wilson. I'm a former Miss Philadelphia 2024. I'm a
Okay,
higher
Miss
education.
Philadelphia.
Yes, I was Miss
Right.
Philadelphia last year. I'm a higher education professional. I'm a content creator here in Philly, and I'm also a health and wealth advocate. So I make content for the Philadelphia Download. So that is a online news publication that recently launched last October. And we pretty much highlight Black narratives, Black stories, Black people
I love it.
here in Philly telling our stories from our own perspective. I also make content, health and wealth content. So last year I decided to really dedicate intentional time towards my health. I was able to lose 35 pounds last year, which is something that, when you start eating healthy and you're working out, that's what happens. You lose weight. But I also didn't take into account how much healthy habits would help my wealth. So last year I was able to save an additional $10,000. I paid my car off 6 months early this year. And those are all from healthy habits. So now I am on a mission to be able to share those healthy habits with others while also promoting financial literacy and really breaking generational curses, right? And building generational wealth.
Yes. I absolutely love that. And I want you to frame it again from what we talked about earlier about that health and wealthy friend and how that really contributed to your journey when you were thinking about that.
Yeah. So, and thinking about my own friends, right? I've always been an active kid. Dance, whatever it was. I started teaching Zumba when I was 15 years old. Yeah, and I still teach Zumba now, so going on 11 years being a Zumba instructor. And so that's always been something that was a part of my life, is this health aspect or movement and being active. The wealth didn't really come in until, let's see, maybe when I was around 18, started thinking about, okay, I had my first credit card. I remember I was so scared to tell my mom that I had a credit card because she made credit seem like something to stay away from, right? But that's really when I started my own journey and learning more about credit and just like being in the financial literacy space. And so when I started doing pageantry, that was my platform. I talked about wealth. When I went to different schools, I would talk about budgeting, investing, but more importantly, why it's important to have a healthy relationship with money, right? We could talk as much about saving, investing, all those other things, right? But if you aren't comfortable in having a conversation with your parents, with your peers, with your coworkers about money, how does it grow, right? I always say what you focus on grows. So I focus on money. I talk about money. So my money will inevitably grow because I focus on it. So that's kind of like how my journey's been. I've always been the rich friend because I'm like a hustler. Like I do all the different things, a lot of different streams of income, whether they're big or small. But my friends always knew me as the hustler. And so that's how the healthy, wealthy friend came into play, right? We hear health is wealth. We hear, oh, that's my rich friend. That's my friend that's always in the gym. And so I brought these two things together because they are so correlated. And one thing leans into the other. When you're financially literate, you can feel that you are in a place of safety, right? And you don't have to be stressed or so anxious. And similarly enough, when you are healthy and you're able to show up for yourself, show up for your job, you have more energy, so you can do those side hustles, you can start that business. Those are all things that are so intertwined that one can't really exist without the other.
I love what you said about having that healthy relationship with money. And I talk about when I talk to my founders a lot that are starting a business and trying to get business credit and going through that process. And what we find is that folks don't want to have that conversation about money. We don't want to talk about, you know, that experience that we had. We don't want to talk about our credit unworthiness. We don't want to talk about fixing any of those things.
Right.
But we want them to. But we want to do better.
Exactly.
Right? We want to do better. And so, I'm in my very first book called Divine Inspiration, I talk about the fact that everything that I learned about money, I learned from my grandmother. Right. When I was growing up, my grandmother had a vacation club and a holiday club, right? Because she was, so when it came time for her to go on vacation, she had her money ready to go.
She
When
had
it
it
came
ready.
time to Christmas shopping,
Yeah.
she was like, Tanya, come on, let's go. It's
Yeah.
time to go Christmas shopping. And so these are some of those healthy habits, to your point, that we're not talking about much more in our community now. And it's so necessary.
It's so necessary. And the thing is, sometimes we'll blame our school system, right? Like, oh, why aren't we learning about this in school? Sometimes we'll blame our parents. Well, why didn't you talk to me about it? And I think at this point, like, no one's at fault, right? Let's just say it's no one's fault. What are we going to do about it now?
That's right.
Right? There are some states that have already implemented financial literacy inside of in their classrooms. Like, it has to be something that students need in order to graduate. And we're seeing now more financial literacy experts or people who are in content creation that want to talk about financial literacy. So I think it's out there.
Yeah.
It's something that is being talked about.
Yeah.
Now we just got to bridge all the people and make sure that it's something that becomes natural, something that isn't taboo.
Exactly.
Something that we understand it's okay to talk about, just as like, oh, how are you? Okay, like how are your finances going?
Yes,
Oh, you talked about that loan that you had. How's that payoff going? Do you need help? Do you need resources? Like, what do you need? Do you want to just have a conversation about it? Let's go through your statements and see, So I think that it should be natural. It should be something that we aren't afraid to have conversations about, because it's a part of our, like, money is a part of our everyday life. We've all, probably everyone in here has spent at least $1 today. So it should be something that we should be able to talk about.
That's powerful. You're understanding that money is a resource.
Yeah.
And
It's a
how do we
tool.
use it properly?
It's a tool,
Exactly.
right.
And so I really love that. How did you get into the content creation part of what are you doing as well? So you got it all going on. So like, how did you start doing that?
Yeah. So like I mentioned, last year I was Miss Philadelphia 2024, and we have to be essentially title holders, but also content creators. And so that's something that's fairly new as social media is rising, and now we're understanding like sponsors are there. A lot of times judges will go and look at your content before you get to the pageant.
Wow.
So that was kind of like out of necessity to having to make content in that way. And then last year, I was making content in Harrisburg with our Speaker of the House, Joanna McClain, and someone on her team was also a part of the Philly Download team.
Okay.
And so then they saw me. I was doing interviews around voting. Like, I was asking questions like, oh, if voting was a party, what song would you play?
Got it. Right? I like that.
And so those are the type of questions that I was coming up with. And so they saw like, okay, I was good at asking questions. I was good at coming up with content, all those things. And that's kind of how I got into the Philly Download. So now I'll go around to different events like Diversitech, different events like Powerhouse, or really anything that's going on in the city, making content, telling the story, talking to people that are there, getting their insights. And that's pretty much like what I do. And so how that was able to segue then into the Healthy Wealthy Friend was recognizing that the more we talk about financial literacy, yes, we can find a way to put it into schools, but I'm all about meeting people where they are.
Yes.
And so a lot of people are on Instagram, they're on TikTok, they're doom scrolling, right? So why not break up a bit? Let's talk about the money.
Yeah.
And I do it in a way that's fun. Like the other day, I posted a video. There's like this trend, like dance or date someone who. So I did like dance or date someone who doesn't prioritize their health.
Okay.
And like, so it's a funny thing, but it's an interesting topic, right? When you're talking about health and wealth space, being able to date someone that's also in that space, right? So I'll make content that is very easily digestible, comprehensible, fun, engaging, like things that people
I love
actually
that. I
wanna
love
do.
what you said about, because breaking up the monotony, right, of the doom scroll. Till I find something that's relevant to me, or something that's important to me, or something that's going to entertain me, right? And so I think that is great that you're doing that, as far as just providing that fresh perspective.
Yeah, thank you.
And then providing content that's by us,
Right.
about us,
For us. There we go.
You know what I mean? So I really, that's wonderful. I'm familiar with Philly Download. It's really powerful. Oh yeah, I know Philly Download for sure.
Yep.
And so they have a lot of great content there, and so that's
great team to be
so
a part of.
necessary. Tell the folks, what you got coming up. If you got anything coming up, or anything like that.
So let's see. I am in hopes dropping my podcast next month. For now, you can follow me on Instagram and TikTok at The Healthy Wealthy Friend, just like how it sounds.
Yes.
All the content is there, health and wealth content. That is
Wealthy.
where the podcast content will also be posted there.
Okay.
I've got a few events coming up. There's one that's happening in May. I want to say it's on the 17th. I'll be hosting the Health and Wealth Conference with Community Hero Action Group here in Philadelphia, being in Cobbs Creek. So that is something that is there. But, you know, for all the healthy, wealthy friends, y'all be able to see all the things that I've had coming up this year. And I am really just excited for you, the listener, to become the healthiest and wealthiest version of yourself this year. So I make all the content for my audience. It's not about me anymore.
Shout out to all the healthy, wealthy friends.
Shout out to the healthy, wealthy friends. And if you want to be a healthy, wealthy friend,
I love that.
come on over to the friend group.
Well, thank you so much
Absolutely.
for coming over.
Thank you.
We're going to have we obviously going to have an opportunity to connect even further. Looking forward to you coming down to the hub.
Yeah,
checking
for
out the space.
Yes.
And seeing some of the other work that you do, and us really doing some work together.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
All
right.
What we have had, here's another one in the bag. All of these videos are going to be available on YouTube. You're going to get to hear from some amazing founders, content creators, tech enthusiasts, everybody that we've talked to during our 2 days here at Diversitech. So stay tuned to learn more about that.